Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punching!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Hey, Black, I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Well, it's Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. I'm Brittany Noble, sitting in for Roland Martin. And here's what's coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Well, federal agents launched Operation Catahoula Crunch in New Orleans. Trump's mass deportation machine hits Louisiana. We'll talk to a reporter who can offer a perspective on what's happening in the Crescent City. And Texas just pulled the plug on programs that help women and minority-owned small businesses compete for state contracts. The unemployment rate for Black women is at its highest in 4 years. We'll talk to the NAACP's vice chair about how the job losses are a direct result of the Trump's racist policy decisions that have rolled back years of progress. And the Hope Global Forums just wrapped up in Atlanta. The theme, future-proofing. We'll show you Roland's conversation with legendary director Bill Duke and the founder of a tech company that can put all your information on your wrist. It's time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the best, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact to find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling.
Federal agents have made their first arrest in a large-scale immigration crackdown in and around New Orleans, making Louisiana the latest target of the twice impeached and criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald the Con Trump's mass deportation agenda. The Department of Homeland Security says Operation Catahoula Crunch will send roughly 250 Border Patrol agents into southeast Louisiana and parts of Mississippi to arrest about 5,000 people over the coming months. New Orleans was previously labeled a sanctuary city by Trump's Justice Department. The city's jail and police department generally do not assist ICE The state's Republican-led legislature passed laws that threatened local officials and even residents with jail time for hindering federal immigration enforcement. Joining us now is columnist with NOLA.com, Will Sutton, to discuss Operation Catahoula Crunch. Thank you so much for joining us, Will.
Thank you, Brittany. Happy to be with you.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing there on the ground.
Well, we've been anticipating this day since mid-November, when we got early reports that we were going to have the National Guard coming in, and then we already have had ICE. There's already the former Camp J is now a ICE detention center at Angola in Louisiana. And then we heard that the Border Patrol would be coming in. Of course, the Border Patrol has an entirely different jurisdiction, but they're making it us within that jurisdiction. I find it quite interesting that they continue to say New Orleans, and that they continue to say until recently Swamp was the part of the name of this operation. And the area that they're focusing on has nothing to do with the swamp. We have bayous around here, but more of that swamp territory is about more than an hour and a half west of Baton Rouge, from here and west of Baton Rouge. And the reason they changed this to Catahoula is our official state dog. And the Catahoula is known for rounding up sheep and cattle. And so it's not just a name. They have intentionally chosen this name and changed it from the swamp name to Catahoula to focus on their intent. And a lot of the first arrests that we've found are in Kenner, which is just outside of New Orleans in Jefferson Parish. And some of the video you just showed from NOLA.com, if the audio were playing, you could hear air traffic noise. And the reason for that is Kenner is where the New Orleans International Airport is located. For those who travel by air, it's MSY, not NO, but that's the Louis Armstrong International Airport. So that area has a population of about 64,000 people, and about 29% of that population is Hispanic or Latino. So there's reason for them to go into Kenner, yet they keep saying New Orleans. It's the New Orleans metro area, but there's a reason they're looking at Kenner, and they're also looking at Gretna, also nearby New Orleans, and they've got about 17,000 folks there, and a quarter of Hispanic and Latino population there. We have seen that they were practicing earlier today with drones in the city park in New Orleans, a park that is close to 50% larger than New York Central Park, just to kind of give you a sense. And part of the reason for that, I figure, is because of its proximity to Kenner. You can pretty much get on the streets and the highway and be out there in Kenner in a very short period of time.
And talk to us about the impact on businesses and schools, the local economy there.
Well, one of the things that's happened a short distance from where I live, walking distance, there are some stores that cater to a Latino clientele, Mexican and restaurant food. And one of those businesses just recently shut down, not because they weren't making a profit and doing good business, but because so many of their customers, and they have a diverse clientele, but so many of their customers are immigrants, and they know that, and they're workers. And so word got out on social media that they were going to shut down indefinitely. And so a number of people went to buy food and order food, to help them stay in business. But what they decided was that it was too risky, that Border Patrol might be coming to their location to look for folks that they want to pick up. And then we also have parents who are keeping their kids home from schools. So there are gathering spots like the local Lowe's or Home Depot, where there are predominantly Latino day workers. In some of those areas that I've driven by, there aren't as many people out there.
Well, let's now add to the conversation. Bring in Larry J. Walker, and let's hear what you say about the immigration practice.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is, we just heard described, particularly, let's start with the impact it's having on students not attending school and what the long-term impact they may be. But we already heard about the economic impact, but really this comes down to what is the personal impact on families. First of all, it's creating a general mistrust of law enforcement, which we've already had a problem in this country for generations. But for, like I said, these children who are disproportionately impacted, who are afraid to come to school, what does that mean for the rest of the country?
Do you think that federal agents are being completely transparent with the community?
I think
no, they're not. I mean, I'm sorry.
For so many days, we've heard reports. We've even gotten reports from Associated Press by documents that have been prepared about this operation. So it's not as though we didn't know, but there was no information forthcoming. In addition to being a columnist for the Times-Picayune and NOLA.com, I'm a morning talk show host at the local Black radio station, WBOK. And it was just a couple of weeks ago that the New Orleans police chief, Ann Kirkpatrick, was on. And I asked her very directly, has anyone reached out to you and told you about what the plans are? And she said, no. No one had reached out to her. Not from the federal government, not from any of these agencies, and not from the state or the governor's office.
Well, we have much more ahead on the Roland Martin Unfiltered Show. We'll be back right here on the Black Star Network. Stay with us.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it. They joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Our legal roundtable is back in session as we look at yet another potential landmark case being considered by the United States Supreme Court. This one is called 303 Creative versus Alennis, and may be the most important and far-reaching First Amendment, that is freedom of speech, case of our time. It could, depending on how the court rules, open the door for a return of Jim Crow segregation laws. It's true.
If you say we can discriminate against one, you're saying we can discriminate against all.
That's on the next Black Table. Don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds. As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violence stream, including hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting black America. They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory. Attack woke, DEI. MAGA wants to defund black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize black people.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
This week on the other side of change.
Book bans, anti-intellectualism, and Trump's continued war on wisdom.
This is a coordinated backlash to progress. At the end of the day, conservatives realized that they couldn't win a debate on facts. They started using our language against us, right? Remember when we were all woke and the woke movement and all that kind of stuff? Now everything is anti-woke, right? When we were talking about including diversity, equity, inclusion, and higher education, now it's anti-DEI. All this are efforts to suppress the truth because truth empowers people.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
Are you ready for the holidays? This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking about all things anxiety and the holidays, whether it's performance anxiety, presence versus presence, making certain that everybody in your space understands the boundaries and how to respect your home. This week, we're talking about those things that will allow you to have a peaceful holiday season.
It really is not about perfection. It's really about, you know, the house feeling warm and cozy and peaceful.
You don't have to like everybody, but what you can do is be cordial in those environments.
That's all this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Our legal roundtable is back in session as we look at yet another potential landmark case being considered by the United States Supreme Court. This one is called 303 Creative versus Alennis and may be the most important and far-reaching First Amendment, that is freedom of speech, case of our time. It could, depending on how the court rules, open the door for a return of Jim Crow segregation laws. It's true.
If you say we can discriminate against one, you're saying we can discriminate against all.
That's on the next Black Table. Don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
Are you ready for the holidays? This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking about all things anxiety and the holidays, whether it's performance anxiety, presence versus presence, making certain that everybody in your space understands the boundaries and how to respect your home. This week, we're talking about those things that will allow you to have a peaceful holiday season.
It really is not about perfection. It's really about, you know, the house feeling warm and cozy and peaceful.
You don't have to like everybody, but what you can do is be cordial in those environments.
That's all this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Godfrey, the funniest dude on the planet. And you're watching
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Well, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett recently laid condemnation of the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald the Trump's immigration agenda. She emphasized the similarities between Trump's mass deportation policies and America's history of slave patrols, noting that ICE has turned into a system that instills fear in communities of color rather than ensuring safety for the country. Here's Crockett explaining the stakes.
Thank you so much to the ranking member and again to the mayor for calling this. But let me be clear. Donald Trump is running the most openly racist immigration regime in modern American history. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Donald Trump's mass deportation system makes me think of what a modern day slave patrol would look like. Slave patrols were armed groups empowered by the government to control, intimidate, and terrorize people solely based on color. That's what's happening now. Donald Trump is sending mass agents without warrants into communities of color to terrorize the people who live there. And the reason that I want to make sure that I draw out this link, because we heard Maxine say that black and brown is coming together. I want to be clear about this. This should not just be the immigrant community. This should be all of us united, because we know united we stand, divided we fall. And unfortunately, this last election, we allowed ourselves to be divided. Now, Ms. Velez, it's my understanding that you were detained by federal agents while you were on your way to work. Is that correct? Did any of these agents present you with a warrant?
No.
An explanation?
No.
Did they do anything other than illegally detain and arrest you?
Yeah.
Did they even identify themselves?
No, they did not.
Okay. Donald Trump has created an environment where these agents believe they are above the law. And one of the things that the ranking member just said was that there's a level of dehumanization. It is in that dehumanization, whether we are talking about the language they use to describe human beings, or whether we talk about the fact that they don't feel as if certain people are entitled to their constitutional rights. That is why Ms. Velez, unfortunately, was denied her constitutional rights, which we know she was supposed to enjoy in, just like those in our immigrant community. But this isn't just that this is the most openly racist immigration regime in modern day history. It is also the most violent and deadly immigration regime in decades. More people have died this year in ISIS custody than in any year since the early 2000s, and the year is not over. Ms. Kozlowski, talk to me about the disturbing reports of unsanitary and inhumane conditions, which are partly responsible for the increase in deaths at the federal detention facilities.
The conditions that we see in the federal detention centers, from holding facilities to facilities across the country, are absolutely deplorable. They are deadly, as you have pointed out. But we see conditions where people are denied medical care, where people are harmed while in custody, where people are held incommunicado from their families. What we are seeing right now are the most horrific conditions, and they are simply designed to get people to give up on their cases. They're intentionally cruel, being kept away from their families. In some cases, we've seen people in the midst of chemotherapy treatments, people on dialysis who are being held in conditions where they don't have access to bathrooms, where they're given rotten food, where they're in places that are so crowded, rooms that are meant for just a dozen people with 60 people in them, that they can't even lay down despite their delicate medical conditions.
Thank you so much. Listen, Donald Trump has dehumanized people of color for decades. I want y'all to understand this is who he is. This is an actual feature of what it is to be Donald Trump. Instead of a flaw, he demanded the execution of innocent black boys. He has been sued many times for racial discrimination. He called African nations shithole countries. He said that, quote, immigrants poison the blood of our country. And he's repeatedly refused to denounce white supremacy. In fact, he's hired many white supremacists to work in this administration. And now they're carrying out this racist and violent mass deportation, and it is destroying our country. LA, we stand with you, and we stand with the rest of this country. Thank you so much.
Right now, I want to bring back Dr. Larry J. Walker, the associate professor at the University of Central Florida. What are your thoughts about?
I need to acknowledge that Congresswoman Crockett is by far one of the most effective Democrats on the Capitol Hill. Every time she speaks about issues relating to this or other topics, she's always really clear and concise in terms of the message she delivers. So in terms of some of the things clear points she had to make is, look, for people who are watching this and, family and friends, either you believe in democracy or you don't. In a country in which people have been, in this case, fairly, unfairly arrested, there is not only in terms of due process, but there's a level of humanity that has to be expected for those who are who find themselves in, part of the prison system, whether it's ICE or arrested for minor offenses. And what we've heard over the last several months, and what you heard Congressman Crockett describe, it is not consistent with a democracy. In fact, I would even argue that, you would find the UN, if they came in and investigated what's some of the conditions in which we've heard described in this conversation and others, is, we would certainly see some UN human rights violations. So as Americans, you have to stand strong and decide if we're going to allow people, regardless of their immigration status, to be treated like human beings, or we're going to turn a blind eye and let these conditions continue to worsen and more people lose their lives.
So you feel like these concerns are legitimate?
Yeah, I mean, this is inhumane. I mean, we can't constantly allow people to be treated like this. You heard the Congresswoman talk about individuals who are on dialysis or various other health issues that they can't even sleep on a cot, and maybe they have to sleep on the floor. We've heard all these conversations over the last couple of months about the food that individuals are receiving. In addition to that, what about all the pregnant women we've heard, in some cases, women losing the child because of the conditions they're living in, not receiving the kind of treatment they deserve. So, once again, the question I pose is if you believe in democracy, is this what a democratic nation looks like?
Tell us more about how people should be responding.
Yeah, I think that obviously, when the last couple of months since the election, we're seeing increasingly more people protest outside these facilities and protest elected officials, local, state, and federal level. And I think that, while there's some people may argue that this is not an effective tactic, it is. And how do we know that? Because history teaches that. When individuals protest from various racial, ethnic, and religious backgrounds, when they see injustice, then eventually the wheels of justice are turned in the right direction. But we need to see larger protests, and also for any corporations that are involved in supporting or platforms, social media platforms, then we should also not support those entities. And once again, apply pressure to local, state, or federal officials to make sure that, once again, that human beings are treated the way they should be treated.
Do you really believe that Trump policies are targeting Black?
Well, I think it's a coincidence or maybe not a coincidence. When we talk about, I know, Roland's talk on his show about, and we'll talk about today, the hundreds of thousands of Black women who lost jobs. I think we also saw the removal of TPS for Haitians, so hundreds of thousands of Haitians who can't possibly return to a country that's been ravaged by weather and economic conditions, and the number of gangs we see there. So I would say the policies and the public comments, like we heard talk about Somalians just in the last 24 hours, tell you where his priorities are in terms of how he views people, and also people of African descent. So I would say, actions speak louder than words, and as the saying goes, but we've seen the words and the actions, not just over the last couple of days, but over the last several years.
What do you think is to come within the next year?
Well, I talked about the importance of protests as it relates to, what's happening right now. But I have a stark warning for Americans, is that things are not likely to get better if there's not some significant political change. The Republicans control the executive branch, the House and the Senate, and several state legislators. So it's going to be really incumbent on American citizens to stand strong. And once again, if you, like I said, if you see injustice, you've got to, and in this case, you certainly do, is to fight for it, fight against it, and make sure this tidal wave doesn't continue to hit and hurt as many Americans as possible.
Well, we have plenty of news coming up for you. As we just mentioned, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, Black women's unemployment rate is the highest since 2021. We'll talk about it on the other side. You're watching Roland Martin.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt
and they got the power, that's a time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol,
we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Are you ready for the holidays? This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking about all things anxiety and the holidays, whether it's performance anxiety, presence versus presence, making certain that everybody in your space understands the boundaries and how to respect your home. This week, we're talking about those things that will allow you to have a peaceful holiday season.
It really is not about perfection. It's really about, you know, the house feeling warm and cozy and peaceful.
You don't have to like everybody, but what you can do is be cordial in those environments.
That's all this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violence stream, including hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in Black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting Black America. They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory. Attack woke, DEI. MAGA wants to defund Black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize Black people.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Our legal roundtable is back in session as we look at yet another potential landmark case being considered by the United States Supreme Court. This one is called 303 Creative versus Elenis, and may be the most important and far-reaching First Amendment, that is freedom of speech, case of our time. It could, depending on how the court rules, open the door for a return of Jim Crow segregation laws. It's true.
If you say we can discriminate against one, you're saying we can discriminate against all.
That's on the next Black Table. Don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
Book bans, anti-intellectualism, and Trump's continued war on wisdom.
This is a coordinated backlash to progress. At the end of the day, conservatives realized that they couldn't win a debate on facts. They started using our language against us, right? Remember when we were all woke and the woke movement and all that kind of stuff? Now everything is anti-woke, right? When we were talking about including diversity, equity, inclusion, higher education, now it's anti-DEI. All this are efforts to suppress the truth because truth empowers people.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
It's your boy Earthquake, giving Roland Martin something to do, because he don't know what to do. He's from Texas. Ain't his fault.
Well, Texas just abruptly gutted a decades-old program meant to help women and minority-owned small businesses compete for state contracts. The state comptroller's office says it is stripping those firms of their historically underutilized businesses or hub certifications and refocusing the program exclusively on the companies owned by disabled veterans, renaming it Vet Hub. Only veterans with at least a 20% service-connected disability will qualify going forward. Officials say existing contracts won't be canceled, but thousands of women and minority-owned vendors are being removed from the state's hub directory effective immediately. Acting Comptroller Kelly Hancock is trying to comply with executive orders from Donald Trump and Governor Greg Abbott targeting diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, and claims Vet Hub will restore constitutional integrity and end race or sex quotas. Now we're going to bring in Larry J. Walker. He can tell us a little bit about his reaction to Texas eliminating women and minority-owned businesses.
I find this changing the law and then the changes you just highlighted, and it very interesting. Let me tell you why. These essentially are DEI policies still in effect. I think a lot of people, when they hear DEI, they think race and gender. But I can tell you, as someone who works in higher education, DEI programs also include veterans. So they're essentially doing this with one arm tied behind their back. So, they said they've gotten rid of these vendors based on gender and race. But for those who are watching, this is still a DEI program. So the question then, you want to ask the question, well, if it's still such a DEI because veterans are included in that category and they just remove certain protected groups, who are they really trying to help and hurt here? And then they talked about the 20% threshold. You're probably talking about a very small number of individuals. So once again, we talk about, the number of Black women who've lost jobs. We talk about Black unemployment rate in general being over 7%. This is just another example of essentially shooting yourself in the foot. I think that, people who are in the Trump administration in the state of Texas should remember that Black people were play a prominent role in a part of the U.S. economy. So getting rid of these opportunities for these small and moderate-sized businesses not only hurts the individuals, but hurts local and state government. And that's really what it comes down to. There's going to be a lingering economic impact and a drag on the economy in the state of Texas.
And talk to us more about the impact that you think it could have. I mean, what happens to those businesses that built their entire growth strategy around this hub certification?
Yeah, that's a really important question. I think we got to acknowledge that these companies in the past, before this provision was in place, wouldn't even had a chance to get these contracts, which are predominantly white males. So yeah, what is the impact? Yeah, so some of these businesses might go under and may because if they had this they were part of this program. Maybe they won't have the access they did and they won't have the capital. That means they won't be able to hire more people. That means, like I said, the business could shut. And it also means there's no opportunity for growth. and it doesn't encourage other, minoritized businesses to, start out, be part of this program, and grow. So not only are you hurting these communities that they're focusing on, but also, like I said, it's going to have a tremendous impact on the local, state, and national economy.
We'll have to see what the future holds. Thank you, Larry. Roland Martin Unfiltered will be right back, right here on the Black Star Network. Stay with us.
This week on the other side of change.
Book bans, anti-intellectualism, and Trump's continued war on wisdom.
This is a coordinated backlash to progress. At the end of the day, conservatives realized that they couldn't win a debate on facts. They started using our language against us, right? Remember when we were all woke and the woke movement and all that kind of stuff? Now everything is anti-woke, right? When we were talking about including diversity, equity, inclusion, higher education, now it's anti-DEI. All this are efforts to suppress the truth because truth empowers people.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
Hello, I'm Bishop T.D. Jakes, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Well, this year, unemployment among Black women has increased significantly, rising from 5.4% in January to 7.7% in September. In April alone, over 106,000 Black women lost their jobs. The disparity in unemployment rates between Black women and other groups is widening faster than it has since 2020. The NAACP asserts that this trend is not merely a result of bad luck or market forces. Karen Boykin Towns, Vice Chair of the NAACP National Board of Directors, is here to discuss the economic challenges that are faced by more than 600,000 Black women who have been sidelined in the workforce. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. Tell us a little bit about what you're noticing.
Well, I mean, we have a crisis on our hands, and it really is one that Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley has been sounding the alarm, but it really requires us to ensure that we are aware and that we are really looking to determine, what can we do? Because quite frankly, I don't know about you, but I have a number of friends who have been impacted, and it's not because they have done a bad job. It's not because they have decided to leave. It seems like it's a systemic disinvestment where they are being impacted due to nothing that they have done other than a lack of being undervalued. And just the times that we have found ourselves in where we have policies that are going against the progress that we've made, where we've had government shutdowns and, massive layoffs, and where corporations have walked away from commitments that they have made. And so here we find ourselves, but at the same time, we know that we must band together and find ways to continue to press on despite just the continued avalanche of issues that, want to overtake us.
This topic hits home for me because I was one of the 600,000 Black women. I found myself without a job in September, and I've seen other journalists, Black women, that have lost their jobs too. Can you tell us if you're seeing any trends in the industries? Which industries are pushing Black women out at the highest rates?
Well, I think it's important to note the industries where Black women are overrepresented, where we're finding and seeing some of this. We're talking about retail, we're talking about health, we're talking about the federal government. These are industries where we are over-indexed and where there are and I should also mention not-for-profits, those organizations that have been getting government contracts that have been impacted. And so that is where we're finding a lot of the loss. And what we know is that
Black women in particular are paid less than others, 71 cents on the dollar. And then when they are impacted with losing their jobs, it's not just about the income that's lost. It's about the generational wealth that gets impacted. It's about the unemployment gap being increased. And we know that with Black women, it's not just us as individuals, it's our families, it's our community. And we must also realize that, it hits our dignity. It hits your confidence. I mean, this is really serious, and we're in a crisis, and the numbers are staggering, as you noted.
Let's bring in Larry. Let's add him to the conversation. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, I spent a few minutes talking about the hundreds of thousands of Black women who lost their jobs in the last couple of months. And I'm wondering if, I got two questions. I think the first question is, have we really quantified about how much, in terms of like millions of dollars, this will cost the U.S. economy? I guess that's the first question.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday I was talking with one of the economists, Katika Roy, who has been doing a lot of research on this, and I think she had it at about $9.5 billion just in this short period of time. And quite frankly, I think that, the work, I think just today, Congresswoman Presley put out a release that she and 22 other colleagues sent a letter to the Department of Labor because not counting the work that they're trying to get the Fed to do, to really look at the real impact that this is having, because, the data is, spotty. And so I really don't believe that we have a very clear picture of the impact that this is having, and it's probably still underreporting.
Yeah, I had one other quick question. I thank you for that. I said millions, you gave me billions. So I think that even highlights, when we talk about, make the argument about the harm it's causing our community and the country, that makes it clear. I think the other concern I have is we find a lot of the social safety net is being removed. You talk about SNAP and some of these other programs. And I'm wondering, will the Black community, once again, has historically done, Black churches, Black, mosques, Panhellenic organizations, the Masons, et cetera, will the Black community again have to create some kind of its own kind of social safety net to support all these Black women who've lost jobs?
At the end of the day, all we have is each other. And, when I talk about this, community is definitely important to be able to lean on each other. And while there are systematic things we have to address, there are the small practical things that can be done. And so last month, the NAACP, had a virtual job fair where we had 13 companies that were looking for to hire. And we had over 4,000 folks that applied, that registered to participate. In the end, we had over 3,000, 57% of them were women. And I know that NCNW did something similar a couple of weeks after that. So, we have 4 planned for next year. We'll be working with our partners. But at the end of the day, that's just a drop in the bucket. It does not even begin, but we have to do something. Everyone, should do what they can, but ultimately we must, as a community, find ways to come together to address what we're facing, but continuing to advocate, continuing to press the mark, and, say it all the time, but 2026 is a big year, and so voting will be something that we will be working really hard on to ensure that our communities understand that elections have consequences, and it is critical that we come out and vote our interests.
Are there any other things that Black women you think can do to protect themselves in this moment right now?
Well, I think that, certainly the job loss has nothing to do with anything that they've done, right? And so certainly one of the things that I think, a lot of my friends have been talking about is, determining where we spend our dollars, right? Being cognizant of what we're spending, but more importantly, where we're spending it and making sure that we're supporting those that support us. I also believe that, there are other things on the horizon that, continue to give us economic instability. When you look at the federal reclassification of professional degrees, that's an issue that, under the big ugly bill, I didn't know what that, was when we were fighting all the other parts of it, but it has become very clear in the last couple of weeks that, if you're talking about reclassifying professional degrees, many of which we might have in social work, in education, in mental health sciences, if you're going to say that there's going to be a cap on the maximum amount that you can borrow, that is a problem. That is a problem, and it once again puts us behind the 8 ball. And so, certainly as Black women, we need to, not go to our corners and, really remove ourselves from those networks that sort of give us life, that kind of keeps us encouraged, but more importantly, lean in to each other to really be supportive in ways where, each one, teach one, or each one share information that you have. Now is not a time to be gatekeeping. It's really a time to be open and sharing. And so, this too is a situation where it's serious, but at the same time, we have platforms like yours that allows us to talk about the issues and find ways to be able to galvanize ourselves to be the resistance.
Well, Karen Boykin-Towns, thank you so much for joining us and for all the work that you're doing. Larry, we want to thank you for your insight tonight as well. And you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Our legal roundtable is back in session as we look at yet another potential landmark case being considered by the United States Supreme Court. This one is called 303 Creative versus Alennis, and may be the most important and far-reaching First Amendment, that is freedom of speech, case of our time. It could, depending on how the court rules, open the door for a return of Jim Crow segregation laws. It's true.
If you say we can discriminate against one, you're saying we can discriminate against all.
That's on the next Black Table. Don't miss it. Right here on the Black Star Network.
Hey, I'm Tasha Cobbs, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. But I need a little filter. I need something. Blow me out. Make me look 35.
Well, Roland has been in Atlanta at the Hope Global Forums. It's the 11th year of the conference, and attendees will explore the theme future-proofing. Here's Roland talking to the CEO and founder of Push 2.0 Group, a tech company that can put all your information on your wrist.
So, folks, we're here at the Hope Global Forum 2025, and the beauty of this, and I've always talked about this, is that you come across a lot of different people. So you come here, you got an idea, there's something you want to do. You don't know who you're going to run into. You don't know who they know. You don't know what it may turn into. And my next guest, I met 3 years ago here at Global Hope Forum. And again, it's just talking, and then all of a sudden, he showed me some technology, and I was like, pretty cool. And now, 3 years later, his company has totally changed, and it shows you what happens when you go to places, whether it's here, whether it's Afrotech, whether it's National Association of Black Journalists, I don't care what it is, and how you are to make connections with folk to be able to build, expand, and grow your idea and your business. So Dr. Janaka Wardrick, Push 2.0 group is here.
Yes.
So, man, good to see you. So, again, 3 years ago, so you had this, you were walking around, and you had this technology. It was a band, and you were like, hey, you know, you can sit here, we can program it, and then that way folk can just hold the phone up, and all of a sudden it reads stuff. And I was like, all right, pretty cool.
Yes.
And then it was just you, and you were just trying to make it happen. And 3 years later, a lot has happened.
Well, it's a little bit more than that. And you're being a bit modest. But it was after you saw it and you liked it and you started using it.
And again, for everybody's watching, we were just in the hallway. We were just talking. I was like, all right. And you said, I want to show you this. And all right.
And it wasn't even just that. I think you had ran out of business cards because people were swarming you. And I was like, well, this is an opportunity to get something in your hands. But from the moment of meeting you, when you introduced me to AJ Calloway, it literally started a snowball effect. So during that time, it's called the Techlet for all of you at home. The snowball effect that it started was not just in confidence, but also in teaching me something more how to put ourselves out there. And I always said to myself, if I had the chance to like fully thank you, that I would, because it literally changed our lives from day one. During this time, there was no tech team. I was the only engineer in the lab. And from that, not only did we just grow, but we prospered, we thrived. And it allowed me to get engineers like Miss Shannon, Miss Reba, Joe, a lot of people that came into the team and started helping build near-field communication with us. And to be honest, this is an area that a lot of our people are not in. Majority of the time when they think of intellectual platforms for us or intellectual professions, they're looking at things like medicine, pharmaceuticals. We're not always in the development stages. Mm-hmm. Now, shout out to a lot of them that are, but we're literally one of the first. And to have a science laboratory that's based around NFC research here in Atlanta, Georgia is outstanding.
Folks who don't know, what's NFC?
NFC stands for Near Field Communication. So it allows you to interact with different devices within a small proximity.
Got it.
So if you look at, if you ever tap to pay for something, that's near field communication.
Got it.
Every room in this hotel, when you tap with a key, the key card,
right?
That's near field communication.
Going in your room.
Exactly. So it all falls along those kind of lines. But we didn't just stop at the band, because when you found out about us, we just had the bands and the Techlets.
And again, well, first of all, we're talking about the bands. So first of all, a lot of times with these bands, they're bulky, they don't look great. And so part of your whole deal was, it's black people, I need to make it look
exactly.
It got to go together. It got to go. It got to look good.
Yeah.
So and the other deal is, you know, you can wear, and the average person they just think, oh man, that's a nice band.
Yeah, they have no idea that it's loaded with technology.
Right, and so that first band that you gave me
was a Mach 2. Yes.
Okay, and that was, so it had business card on it.
Yes.
So yesterday when we chat, so this one here, you said has
it's a Mach 3.
Okay, well, it has 3 areas on it.
So it has 3 different antenna hemispheres. Now, it doesn't just hold the business card anymore. This could do everything from start your car. You could copy your key card to your elevator and to your room to it. It could get you in your home.
And how does it, so what, does a person what do they do? So that's the person who's watching, so it's already programmed.
Yes.
So, all right, so somebody comes up to me and I want to give them my business card. What do I do?
Only thing you would have to do is hold your arm out now, because yours have your personal information on it.
No, we didn't put that one on here.
Okay, so
this just has the email on it.
All right, so only thing they have to do is just tap, and it pulls up the whole information of everything that they need for you.
Right. So I use dot card. So it's pulling that card up.
Yes.
So all they do is just hold their phone right up to it.
Yes. Now, the difference is with iPhones, their drivers are all up here at the top. So anything that you do with an iPhone, your driver is always going to be up at the top. With Androids, it's a little bit different because Androids is going to go from the left-hand corner or the middle. So it's the hemispheres change depending on the type of phone.
So the middle one was the business card.
Yes.
And I forgot what she put on this side here. I think it was how to support the show.
How to support the show, and also I believe it was the YouTube as well.
Yeah, so YouTube.
Am I right, Ms. Shannon?
Yeah, the YouTube is on this side over here.
Yes.
So pull your phone up.
Okay.
So we're gonna tap on the right side.
So on this side, it takes them directly to the YouTube.
Right to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, allowing them to subscribe.
Give me a shot, Henry.
Right, Henry, you got
there.
that?
So you tap, you with your phone, you just tapped on that side of this wrist.
Yes.
And it automatically took to my YouTube channel.
Exactly.
So
now,
if somebody comes up to me and they're like, hey, I want to subscribe to your show.
Very easily. But now this is the thing. When we think about something like that, someone like you who comes across millions of people a year, you don't come across 5,000, 10,000 people. You come across millions. Even here, you're coming across close to 20,000 people just here.
Right.
But the way it converts into something financial is outstanding. So when I first developed it, it wasn't an idea of building a business. When I first built it, I built it for myself. And the algorithm was written on a piece of plywood pulled out of the wall. This is it was on Whitehall Forest Court and Boulder Crest, right here in Atlanta.
You have that plywood?
Yes.
We still.
Nah, we ain't framing. You know what? I actually have it sitting inside of storage.
No, you got to frame that, bro.
I know.
You got to frame that.
But
you got to put that in a frame.
It's a big piece of plywood.
It's a big ass frame. They make big ass frames.
Yeah. Okay. I never thought about framing it because honestly I wouldn't know how do you frame a piece of plywood?
No. Trust me, people who do this, you can take it to Hobby Lobby. They frame all kind of stuff. Because if that's the origin of your business,
yes,
dude, that you need to frame that.
So this is where it took an amazing turn at. After you introduced me to AJ,
because he was here,
yes,
and I was like, hey, check this out.
He was here with Miss Basketball at the time,
Christina Granville.
Yes, and he followed me, but then he popped up at the Russell Center where I was at, teaching a workshop. And while he was coming to pick one up, Donald Beamer, the senior technology advisor to the Mayor Andre Dickens, was literally just standing in the corner. And when he saw, he said, well, what was that AJ had on his wrist? And I was like, what, the tech? He was like, yeah. Where's your lab at? Let me give you a call. And next thing you know, he shows up at the lab. He spends a whole day with us. And they started using, I don't know if I could talk about on camera what they're using it for, because that's their business, but they started using it for some pretty
interesting of Atlanta.
Using it for some pretty interesting stuff, which sent us totally into the stratosphere. And now that they're seeing us in this space, I would say we created some pretty cool stuff, but in retrospect to it, with things that Atlanta go through with having food deserts and stuff like that, it allowed us to create other technology to benefit the city.
So you took that initial idea, and how more can we do? And then the point we were making here is that it had 3 touch points. And what you were saying is that with the app, I can change
whatever you want.
So if it's like, all right, if people say, I want to support your show, like a matter of fact, earlier, a brother said, hey, I want to Zelle your show.
Yes.
So I can have a program to where, boom,
you can have a whole POS system on your wrist.
Okay, again, for the person watching, what the hell is a POS?
A payment processing system.
Point of sale.
Point of sale,
there you
yes.
Go.
So usually when people see a point of sale system, it's bulky, it's a cash register.
It's a square.
Yeah.
And I gotta go get it.
You gotta have it charged, all those kind of things. This, you don't need to charge it. It's waterproof. You can run over it with the car and it's gonna last. So we built it to do multifunctional things, not just one. but so you can actually, how do you say, limit the footprint that you carry with yourself.
Yeah, because you're not trying to, listen, the whole point of QR codes, I'm not trying to carry business cards. I'm not trying, and if I'm giving a presentation and I'm talking to 200-300 people,
yes,
they can just pop it up on the screen and just hold your phone up. I'm not trying, right, I'm not printing them damn cards. I got to remember it. I got to remember to carry, and most people never even hit you anyway.
Yeah.
So the whole point is using technology to make your life a lot easier. Absolutely.
So two of the main things that it mainly does is even when they're gathering your information from there, it puts it in their phone automatically. So you don't have to wait for the return call from a business card, of which 9 times out of 10, they don't do. Like, we were taking a survey while we were here and just watching. 90% of the people that get business cards, while they're here at the Global Hope Forum, you're not seeing them take it and transfer that information into their phone.
Nope.
So it ends up in a junk drawer. It ends up in a gift bag, of which...
See, what I do is, because you can lose a card.
Yeah.
Or people write something down. I remember I did the National Black MBAs in L.A., and Idris Elba was on the panel.
Okay.
He's like, man, that was a hell of a job. And so he writes his number down and gets to, dude, I don't know what the hell happened. Because I flew in on a red eye, moderated, flew back on a red eye. I have no idea what, they were like, how the hell you lose Idris Elba's phone number? I did. So what I do a lot of times is, so folks will hand me a card, and if I'm like, no, I'll take a picture of it. Because I've lost, and that saved me several times. So I'll be like, damn, what happened to that card? So I used to have another, it was an app that you could immediately scan the card and right to your phone. But you're absolutely right. There's nothing worse than you're like, what the hell did I do with that card? So you looking all in the bag and you looking everywhere. Yep.
And then if you're walking around with a stack of them, they end up crumbled up. You can't read the information or anything like that.
Right.
So it changes the trajectory, just not on how we transfer information, but how we connect as people.
Got it.
Because once you have somebody's phone saved and they're following you on Instagram or they done subscribe, now you could get into building a relationship.
Yep.
Now you could get into talking to them about things that actually matter to your movement.
So with these here, how many different colors and styles that y'all have?
Oh, man. So we drop them like Jordans. I'm going to be honest. So we have right now maybe like 20 different styles, but it goes from the Mach 1 to the Mach 2 to the Mach 3.
Got it.
And here's a funny story about it. And we was touching on this yesterday. I have seen people lend their techlet to other people when they're going to events. Nobody uses it for the same thing. So take, for example, if this person owns a fragrance company or this person has a media company, if it's to drive subscriptions, from this event alone, you could get easily 10,000 subscribers just by walking in a hallway.
Right.
What that does is, in turn, is it gives you an idea to look at how you're communicating, not just better, but more efficiently.
Right.
And it becomes like something that you have with you every day. No difference than your phone or people's prescription. You never know.
Now, so you talked about, what are the other things that y'all have developed? You got some stuff right here. So this box right here, that's what this is.
Yeah, this is the techlet. But like I said, this is just where we started.
Right.
It's not where we finish. So this right here, we call this is how we tithe. These two devices right here. This is called the DigiSpike, and this is called the Plant Pod.
This is called the
DigiSpike. So
DigiSpike.
Yeah. So take, for example, when you're on a farm, right, and you're seeing crops grown, normally you just see a rock or a stick with the name on it: carrots, corn, aloe, things like that. However, what if when you tap here, you don't just know what it is, but you know how to prepare it for a remedy, for food, for cultivation, or even for medicine?
So let's say, my brother has a garden in the back of his house.
Yes.
And he grows, he's an executive chef. And he grows stuff. So by having this, it's not just that's tomatoes, that's this, that's parsley, that's whatever.
That could tell his sous chef what ingredients he used that tomato in and what to use it for.
Okay.
It allows, not even just for that, even with kids, because the Andrew Young YMCA and the Village at Carver YMCA is currently using our plant technology.
All right.
the kids get a chance to learn from this as well. So to train the next generation of farming and urban farming, when they tap it, they get a video telling them about the crop, how to prepare it, what it's best used for, and things like that.
So this is if I got a garden or whatever, it's in the ground. But this is if you're growing it in your house.
Yes.
And this would go into the soil.
This one right here is one of my favorite. We're going to move the Domino S3 over here real quick. So the plant pod does something pretty cool, right? Usually a lot of people, they don't have green thumbs. But let's say, for example, if you're growing a spice or herb and you figured out something that no other grower has figured out, and you know it could benefit every farm around you, when you tap it, what it does is it brings up an application interface that basically, when you input the information from the trimming to the plant soil, all the way down to the nutrients that you're using, once you hit submit, you share that information with all the farmers within a 5-mile radius of you.
Zoom in, you'll see. Zooming in. As the furthest you go?
That's the furthest you go?
Go to you. Don't worry about it. Stay right there.
Okay, I'm going to stay right here.
Stay right there.
What that particularly does is when they pull that up after tamping the plant pod, they get to input the work that they did to said plant or said herb. Meaning, anything that you use that was beneficial, that allowed you to yield a higher harvest or a bigger harvest, once you hit submit, it shares that data and information with all the other urban farmers within a 5-mile radius of you. Thus, if something is working good for you, it works good for them. Cool. If you found an invasive species or crop, and you share that information, now they also know what to look out for. So to keep their crop safe, but also to keep everybody in a good trajectory of what's growing at the same time.
Okay. That's if y'all are on the same platform.
Yes.
You're sharing data.
Yes.
And then obviously you can share that, you can take that and then also share with others outside who are not in the 5-mile radius.
Yes.
Okay.
You can, but it's mainly used for urban farmers within food deserts.
Got it.
Because the whole idea of this came out of me growing up in a food desert.
Right.
Now, over here on this side, this is what we call the Domino S3. So we build things for the real estate industry, Airbnb industry, Vrbo industry.
Yep.
So normally when a person goes and they check into an Airbnb or they check into any kind of room share, you don't know where the food is at. You don't know where to go shopping at.
Gotcha.
You don't know where the nightlife is.
You don't know the neighborhood.
You don't know the area. However, what makes this cool, I'm going to just hold this right here so you can see. Right? Well, I got it. Okay. So what makes this one of my favorite is because...
And first of all, where does this go? In the Airbnb?
In the Airbnb, directly by the door.
So if you got an Airbnb, that person's coming in, this is by the door.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So what they do, let's say if you didn't know where the food was, only thing you do is tap at the top, and it takes you to the grocery store within a 5-mile radius of said location.
Got it. Hold up.
Yeah.
And then it says, see results closer to you, not now.
Yeah, go ahead, not now.
So when you tapped it, it showed...
Directly, the grocery stores from where we're at right now, it's telling us the Kroger's, the Publix, everything that's directly next to us.
So that top one, that's food.
Yes, now right there.
What's this one?
God forbid if you hurt yourself, that's the hospital.
Hospital or the urgent care or whatever.
That's closest to you.
So you tap that?
Exactly.
Got it.
Now, and at the bottom it goes for nightlife, but that's not what makes this cool. Let's say if you have an Airbnb here in Atlanta, but then you open up one in New York. You ship one of these to New York and it automatically updates itself. You don't have to do anything to it, and neither does we.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So once we build it and code it, it's easy, ready to go. That's what we call NFC anchoring technology. So what it does is it brings up the things that you need that's within a proximity of you, within a short radius, not a far radius.
All right.
And it's called the Domino S3.
So y'all been a little busy.
Well, this is not even scratching the surface. So there's everything from interactive clothing. We build businesses with this stuff. We build buildings with this stuff. One of my most sought after right now that I'm really excited about, and everybody could be on the lookout for. It's called HB 742. So
HB 742.
Yeah, I named it after my big brother.
Okay.
But I'll give you an idea. I'll do it one more time and see if you catch what I'm saying.
What, the Kente?
No. Interactive clothing.
Got it.
Fully integrated.
Okay.
So the thought of it is for military use. If, God forbid, if a soldier get hit with an RPG or a grenade, it allows them to find the body parts and things like that to get back to their family so they can have a respectable burial.
Okay.
Things like that. But also utilize for street teams. So no more street teams walking around with a whole bunch of book bags full of things. They can have everything from giveaways to gift cards to you name it, all by people just tapping their garment.
Wow.
Yeah. And you can wash it, dry it, and iron it. And nothing happens to it.
Now, y'all, so you're not attaching that to existing clothing. It's you're developing the clothing itself.
Well, we're developing the fabric itself.
Right, the fabric. Got it.
So the fabric is integrated with what we call pixie dust.
So y'all gonna need to have it in Kente, because you know
for you we'll make.
I have a lot of outfits, you know, because I might want to wear that bland ass blue, white T-shirt. You know, got to be a little different. So okay.
So that's where we're going with it. But again, we developed since you last saw me. You said we've been a little busy. We developed over 3,400 and some odd applications, and we're not stopping. So going forward, my dream is to walk every 50 feet and see our technology. Literally, every 50 feet that I walk, I want to be able to see a building that we have built, a garden that we have influenced, things of that nature. Allowing nations to use it. So even if we look at how they're going forward with like digital IDing, I believe our people need to be at the forefront of this technology, not at the ass end. The last time we was at the ass end of technology, it was the musket. And we all know how that turned out.
Yep.
Given colonization. But this time we have a real chance to be at the forefront of it. And we develop. We haven't had any venture capitalists, any investors. It's just us, the engineers, and we built it one device at a time, and we funded it with one cell at a time. That's literally how it happened. So when they talk about being bootstrapped, we bootstrapped this directly from beginning, and we can't say in because we're not done yet.
There we go. So come a long way since that bump into the hallway.
Yes. And the funny thing is, I really couldn't wait to see you, to not just show my gratitude, but to show you what we did with the opportunity that was put in front of us. Because when you get a chance to sit down with someone like you, it gives you opportunity. People don't understand that everything is not at the result of asking someone for $1.
Right. Every connection is not transactional.
Exactly.
So the thing is, if you pass it to someone else, so hey, check this out, and I tell people this all the time because they fail, it's incumbent upon you to take it further.
I tell you like this is how it opened the door. We touched on the story earlier, so it's okay, I could just tell it? All right, so right after you introduced me to AJ turned around and went to Miami. It was him, Serena Williams, Jamie Foxx, a slew of other people that I have never met a day in my life. That following year, I am sitting with Les Brown right around the corner from where we're at right now. Off walks Milan Selassie. I have never met this man before. He runs up like, Dr. Danaka, that's a techlet. I love your story. And in my head, I'm like, who is this dude? So I leaned over to Les. I was like, is this your man's in him? He looked at me and said, no, but be cool. Just be cool. So, because he's mentioning names of people that I know I never met.
Right.
So he's like, yo, man, we love your tech. I mean, everybody loves your story. Yada. And I'm like, who is everybody? He's like, yeah. Then he said, AJ. I'm like, hold up. So I pulled out my phone. I started texting AJ. AJ wasn't even here yet. He was like, Doc, I'm about to get on the plane. I'll talk to you later. And just hung up. So I'm like, I don't know if dude was telling the truth, lying, or anything. My fiance, Michelle Rice, said, well, look at his Instagram. So I said, who Instagram? I don't know this dude. He said, no. She says, no. Look at AJ's Instagram. So I goes on AJ's Instagram, and lo and behold, this was December 9th, 2004. I remember the dates like it was yesterday. December 10th is when AJ got here, but on December 9th, I looked on AJ's reels, and Milan Selassie, AJ, Serena Williams, Jamie Foxx, Pharrell, all of them are on the beach like this. And I'm like, oh my God, look here, brother, give me a minute, because I had to take it all in. When
all of them had the technique.
AJ put my name in rooms with people that are not just powerful and what we consider black excellence, but those situations ended up somebody said something to someone from Pharrell's camp, right? I end up getting put in Black Ambition. He has like a tech competition for up and coming startups. And then turns around, as I showed you the email yesterday, I end up as one of the finalists. So when I say mind blowing, it just was like, boom. And I was like, if I ever get, I said at first, I don't know if you wanted to hear this long ass story, but I was like, I got to tell it to him step for step on how it happened. Because when people ask me, and I'm like, look, you ever heard the expression, you wouldn't believe me if I told you? I am literally living that. So I literally just stopped telling the story. They'd be like, how you end up in Black Ambition? Well, if I told you, you're not going to believe me. So I'm going to just take the congratulations and I'm going to keep it on moving. Because to be honest, I don't even have to win. Just by being in the finals did so much. Did so much. And I give all the glory to God. I don't keep none of that for myself. I give all the glory to God. Because you guys paved the way that I couldn't have paved or laid the asphalt down for myself. So I put it God, myself, then y'all. The life that you spoke into me, I'll never forget what you said to me. You said, if a person can open the door, they'll do it right then and there. When you did it right then and there, you was like, no, take out your camera, take some footage. And I was messing with it, trying to get the selfie right. You said, man, give me your phone. Click. And I'm like, Roland Martin just took my phone.
Oh, I done snatched many phones.
No, exactly.
All around America.
But then I noticed it's what you do. But you...
It's called a 3-second rule.
You inspired not just the outlook on the approach that comes across when I'm dealing with people. It lit a fire that allowed me to not just push forward, but push forward with confidence, push forward with integrity. That's why this part of my tech, when I said, the DigiSpike and Plant Pod, we don't sell it. I give that away to all urban farmers for free. I don't care if it's a church. I don't care if it's in the back of your house. If you need it, we make sure you have it. Because I know a lot of people believe in tithing, right? And I'm not even religious. I'm being honest with you. I am not a religious man.
I got you.
I'm a God-fearing man, but I'm not a religious man, so I ain't going to sit up here in front like I am. But I do believe that with my talent, it's my responsibility that 10% of who I am has to go back to God. This is my 10%. Now, mind you, we've been approached by everybody to sell this stuff. And they want us to sell it. So even some of the engineers in the lab, they want us to sell it. No, I would not sell that. That I'm gifting. So you got a garden in the back of your house?
Oh, hell no.
What?
My brother does.
Then we're going to send your brother some DigiSpikes and Plant Pods.
I ain't got time to try to grow and stuff.
But we're going to send him some.
Yeah, he has one and my sister has one. And they posting the family photos. They growing all their stuff. I said, y'all.
After that meeting that we had, a few days later, Miss Felidia from the Andrew Young YMCA. Andrew Young, that's on the wall right around here. They have a YMCA named after them. They reached out to me and was like, look, we heard about some of the agricultural technology that you're working on. I presented it at the state capitol. Not only did they wanted it for the kids. Man, I went out there so fast, did the installation, walked around the whole campus of it, seeing how they was growing and how they using it and how they interacting with the kids. And that, I took that as God speaking to me that this is the purpose. All of this other stuff that we sell is cool, fine, but this is the purpose. Right. Because it can actually get rid of food deserts.
There you go.
Especially if they know what they're doing in the garden. Now, mind you, a lot of the farmers that we see now are what, in their 50s, 60s, 70s. We have a responsibility to train the next generation. No difference than what they're doing in media with having STEM schools and stuff like that. This is for them as well.
Well, man, it's a hell of a lot, and here's what I'll say is, I say to anyone, never limit the vision.
Nah, I won't, and I appreciate that. You speak life into me.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You know what? I'm not going to take that congratulations yet until we're done, because literally,
you're never going to be done.
Hold on, I'm about to show you the other blessing that came out of this. Right? You was just sitting up here interviewing Bill Duke, right? Yep. His daughter was right there. She said, listen, I've been hearing about you. I've been waiting to meet you. And now you're standing right here about to be interviewed by Roland Martin. And I'm like, yeah. She was like, listen, we have a museum that they're doing. So what I do for them, I'm dedicating to Roland Martin Unfiltered. Because they want us to check out their whole museum and what they're doing for, with their legacy here in Georgia. But again, it's another connection and another opportunity. Like, anybody that's really about doing something, they need to be around brothers like you. They need mentors like you. You mentored me 3 years ago for about an hour. And I hung out. I got a chance to meet Deshaun and the other crew and things like that. That's why when I see you guys, I immediately go into my giving mode. Because y'all done given so much to me. It's literally no way I could repay you outside of the stock options that we gonna be giving out. Outside of that,
I don't mind stock options.
It's literally no other way I could, because this is what we call a real blessing.
Yep.
Everybody else, they'll sit up and flex. They'll try to sit up here and pontificate. That ain't me. And when I say it's coming from the bottom of my heart, it really is.
I appreciate it.
Because a lot of the people that could have helped, they wasn't in a position to do what you did. They wasn't in a position to speak life like you did. So, yeah, you could give me all the congratulations that you want. I'm only going to give it right back. Or at least 10%.
All right, then. Keep moving and grooving.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
Well, you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
This week on the other side of change.
Book bans, anti-intellectualism, and Trump's continued war on wisdom.
This is a coordinated backlash to progress. At the end of the day, conservatives realized that they couldn't win a debate on facts. They started using our language against us, right? Remember when we were all woke and the woke movement and all that kind of stuff? Now everything is anti-woke, right? When we were talking about including diversity, equity, inclusion, higher education, now it's anti-DEI. All this are efforts to suppress the truth because truth empowers people.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
Michael McMillan, President and CEO of the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
While Roland was at this year's Global Hope Forums, he caught up with legendary actor and director Bill Duke, who explained what he learned from other directors, shared his thoughts about artificial intelligence, and what he's working on now.
Bill, what's happening, man?
Hey, man, trying to be like you when I grow up.
You the king of the tracksuit. You gonna be comfortable, casual, chill.
I love comfort, D, man. At a certain age, comfort's important.
Oh, I agree. That's why. Look, when I got dressed, I'm like, no, we're gonna keep it real simple.
That's beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful.
So what's been going on? You got lots happening. Hollywood Walk of Fame. Folk acknowledging your brilliance.
I really appreciate it so much, and it's part of my legacy, so I really feel grateful that it's happening, so it's positive.
We last talked a few years ago, and your book was out. And so, what's you're working on now? Documentary?
Say it again.
So you're working on a doc right now. What are you working on right now?
I'm working on several things. The major thing I'm working on is the Red Fox story.
The Red Fox story. Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to do we're having together a feature film and some other things about. Because people don't understand he was a pioneer in so many ways.
Right.
And he went through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to tell that story for his legacy.
The thing that I think is so critically important, there's so many individuals, so many African Americans whose story never been told.
I agree.
You talking about Red Fox? We could talk about Sam Cooke. Listen. Thank goodness his son led it, but the amazing documentary that was on Dick Gregory, and we could just sort of go on and on. I remember when Harry Belafonte, Mr. B, in his book, he said one reason he said he did it, and then they shot like 800 hours worth of content. They did the documentary, but they've got so much stuff from multiple other documentaries. And he said in his book that he regretted that Marlon Brando never told his story. And he said he wanted to make sure that his story was told, was put down. And I just think that, the ability for us to tell those stories to a whole new audience so they understand who these folks were and what they contributed to society, to Hollywood, to entertainment, that too often has been ignored.
Well, there's history.
And his story. Come on now. I say that all the time.
Yes.
There's history and there's his story.
His story.
And the thing, I was just telling somebody the other day, and see, one of the problems that I have is that a lot of these documentaries are not led by folk who look like us.
I know.
A lot of the autobiographies are not written by folks who look like us.
I agree.
And that just sort of just drives me crazy when we have storytellers, when we have people who can do those stories service.
I agree, but I think that things are changing in the sense that social media really gives us a platform that did not exist previously.
Right.
I think although AI has its negative elements, it can be also used for positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we have to really study that and also prepare our children for the future they're going to face, because I have friends right now who have kids in college that are studying disciplines that will be obsolete by the time they graduate, but they'll still owe the student loan.
Right. Well, the thing that how I look at it when we talk about content, what I say is the technology changes, the tools change, but the fundamentals of the craft still remain the same.
I agree.
So when writing, it's who, what, where, when, how, and why. In terms of media, that's just the basics. Now, how you do the story, whether it's newspaper, magazine, whether it's digital, now whether it's how do you utilize video. So what I am constantly saying to folks is, I need you to learn the skill set. I need you to learn lighting, audio. I need you to understand the basics of shooting and everything. And now you can take that and now apply it to, we talked about it before, I am absolutely infatuated with High Flying Bird.
Yes.
I'm telling you, I mean, I'm talking about with my interns. I talk about that movie everywhere because Soderbergh shot it with 2 iPhone 7s.
And when he did the dolly shots, they rolled him around in the wheelchair.
Right. And but I've walked people through that. I said, it was a story I read, and he said, look, it will take him 3 hours, lay the tracks down, get that elevator shot, take the tracks up, go the other way. He said, versus Homer just pulled him in the wheelchair and went around.
That's right.
It was 20 minutes. And so to me, the craft of shooting is the same. But it's just saying, okay, now, how can I now do this differently with the technology? And that to me, so that's why when I tell interns, come here, you're fixating on the piece of equipment, but you don't know how to use it.
Well, you said something very important. You used the word craft. And that's something that is not happening as much as it should, because in terms of making a film, there's a story arc that has a beginning, middle, and end. And when you're an actor playing a character, that character should have beginning, middle, and end. But the craft of things has become secondary just to having the equipment.
Right.
Which is, I understand that, because a lot of these young people aren't being taught any different. But I hope it comes back.
Yeah, and so that's what we emphasize when our interns work. My whole deal is, you need to understand the craft. You need to understand, I need you to learn how to talk your way into a building. I said, there's no book in school. There's no book that can teach you how I need to size up that man or woman, how I need to see how they treat the previous person. Because my objective, I gotta get into that, I gotta get past them.
That's right.
To get to that person for that story.
That's right.
So I gotta learn how to communicate, how to schmooze, how to sweet talk. All those different things. And they look at me like I'm crazy. I said, I'm telling you. Because if I send you and you come back and say, oh, I couldn't get it, you're useless to me.
That's right. You're fired.
Yeah. And so it's hilarious when I'm trying to explain to them that, and they're, well, like, what do you want me to do? Figure out how to get past that damn security guard.
That's right. That's right.
And it's no different. Look, where you are like, well, Mr. Duke, what we gonna do? We losing light. You better get this shot.
That's totally right. And it's a little different these days, but I hope that what you're talking about comes back, because although they were more difficult times, in order for us to succeed, we had to be more skilled. And I hope that skill never goes away.
Yep.
And we should be teaching it from the time they're kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's a skill. And, okay, we have the cameras and we have the sound, we have the lights, and you have the script. But do I care about anything you're talking about?
Right. or even just how you. So we were doing it was a rally outside the Supreme Court, and with 4K, 6K, 8K. I mean, these days, like, all right, I can put it on a wide shot. Well, in post, we can punch it in. We all good. And I'm like, no, I want it to be shot this way. And so the guy was on camera. So then when I got on camera, I took the shot in. I wanted a really tight shot. Because I like, for me, when I shoot, first of all, when I shoot, I want to look through the viewfinder, and I want to feel. It's like I'm in tune with that person, and so I want a really tight shot. Because I want to, when they're talking and it's a rally and they're really packed, I want to feel that.
Yes.
I can't feel that with this wide shot. So I'm moving in, and so the director was back in the control room. She was like, Cameron, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, since I own it, I wasn't listening to her. So, but I explained to her after, I said, I need you to understand what I was trying to do. I didn't want that same shot. I said, I wanted a tighter shot, so I wanted to feel the emotion of what that person was saying.
Yes.
And but again, if you just set it up, like, well, here's a wide shot, we good, and no. And so you have to learn, to me, you have to learn those things, and whether it's video, whether it's news, whether it's filmmaking, and that's just, to me, that has to be hammered home.
You're talking about the skill of storytelling. I don't think it's being taught that way anymore. You're taught the equipment, and you're taught, how quickly you can move and the rest of it. But as I said before, do I care about anything you're saying?
Do you find that the hardest thing today, when you worked on these projects, and it's not denigrating a millennial or a Gen Z or Gen Alpha. Unfortunately, it's really how they've had to grow up. What I keep saying is that the greatest failure that I see for those of us in creative side is the inability to think. The inability we're working on something and thinking your way through the problem to get to the solution. When I say, listen, in that moment, you can't YouTube it, you can't Google it.
That's right.
And so I think thinking is completely underrated, an underrated skill set.
I think you're 100% right. Unfortunately, I have friends who have kids in college, and she and I have these debates all the time, but when her son gets a test, he gives it to AI and ChatGPT.
I can't do that.
That's what he does. And he edits a little bit of what he did, then he turns it in, and he passes. And I'm saying to her, doesn't that bother you? And she said to me, no, as long as he can do his job. Now, for me, it doesn't require critical thinking. As a matter of fact, he's never learned cursive writing.
Right.
So he can't even sign his own name. I know it makes him look like a dinosaur, but I think it's important to be able to sign your own name. And the generation, they say, what's the big deal? So he can't sign his own name. So, it's, what can I say?
Well, I just think that I had a guy earlier, and he was, we were talking about HBCUs, and I know you did work a long time at Howard University Film School. And I said, what I fundamentally believe has to happen is these education centers, whether they're PWI, HBCU, community college, whether they are film school or whatever, you have to have folk who have done it.
Yes.
Teach.
100%. 100%. It's one thing to teach from an academic point of view.
Or theoretical.
Theoretical point of view. It's another thing to teach from an experiential point of view. Because there are subtleties there you can only teach if you've gone through it. And a lot of what is being reported about the success of writers, directors, producers, or whatever, no one, how can I put this? No one ever shows you the snout of boogers. Make any sense?
Oh, absolutely. See, I also, and granted, and again, I understand the world that we're living in. The attention span, folk grabbing their phone real quick. I had a young lady. She was a Howard University graduate, and she was shooting for me. So we were in the office, and Henry and I were talking. Henry was directing. We were talking, and I was talking to her. And then I turned and I was talking to Henry. And then I looked back, and she's on my phone. She's on Facebook. And I went, "What the hell are you doing?" She goes, "What do you mean?" She said, "You're talking to Henry." I said, "I know that. But you should be listening to me talk to him, because you can be learning something while I'm talking to him." I said, "What can you tell me that you're looking right now on Facebook that can teach you, that's going to help your ass shoot better?" So my nieces were helping me. So I have a studio in my house. And so I had a green screen, but I needed to actually have a large television. So I told them I'd try to help y'all move the 65-inch TV behind me. So we're moving it, and so I'm trying to figure out, okay, how to get it around here. And so we stopped, and I'm sort of thinking through it. And they rushed to pick their phones up. And so I walk over, I snatch phones. Like, "What the hell y'all doing?" They're like, "Uncle Roland, what's the problem?" I said, "I need you to stand here and watch me think."
Yes.
They were like, "Why am I going to stand here and watch you think?" I said, "Because you need to understand how I am processing this to think through how to get this done."
Yes.
And I took the phones. And they was like, "I am not understanding why this man, they're like, "Why are you tripping?" I said, "Because I said, do you understand the amount of learning you can do by watching?"
Yes. Well,
I mean, your career, I'm sure that you worked on stuff and you watched how that director moved and what they did and what.
One of my great heroes was Sidney Poitier. And I watched everything he did because he gave me courage. Because, he was brilliant, but he also was conscious. And so watching him, watching great directors like Michael Schultz and other people, I was in a play called Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death on Broadway, and I was a new actor at that time. I used to stand in the wings and watch the professional actors, what they did and how they did it. B. Wind and other people. And
but what were you watching? Were you watching how they moved, how they stood, were you watching not just them reciting, but were you watching their mannerisms, their physical movements?
Everything. They weren't acting. They were becoming. They became that person. And when I saw that, I was like, wow.
Right.
And one of them told me one day, I use this phrase all the time, I said, what is the key? Because I believe everything you're saying. And she said to me, "Bill, it's a horrible word, acting. Because great actors don't act. They become." I said, "What does that mean?" She said, "After you learn all your lines, what you got to do is to fall into darkness backward." I said, whoa.
Which can also, though, be very dangerous. His name is escaping me, who played the Joker. and he talked and he eventually committed suicide. That was Omari Hardwick talked about when he played Ghost. I interviewed him. He said, Fred, I had to go to such a dark place. I forgot, it was somebody else who I interviewed. They talked about how it took them a very long time to shed that character.
Yes.
Because they played it brilliantly.
Yes.
But they had to go to a place.
Yes.
And one said, I will never do it again. They said because it caused depression. It caused all sorts of different things.
Yes.
And it was just amazing. And just what you said, they went into that dark place and they said it was hell trying to come out of it.
Yes. That's why you have to surround yourself with people that truly care about you, and that you come out of doing that character. They give you human comfort, caring, not because of what you can do for them, but because they care about you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have those relationships in your life. But then the most important relationship, in my opinion, is the relationship you have with yourself. Because if you look in that mirror, you don't like what you see, nobody else can solve that problem for you.
Right.
It's called divorce.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying?
With the beauty of the mirror, you're looking at everything. You're not just looking at your face. You're looking at your neck, your arms, your shoulders, your chest, your stomach. You're looking at everything. And then when you start looking more intent, you start seeing stuff that you never pay attention to.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And it get real scary. It get real scary when you start doing that. But I just fundamentally believe that we're moving to a place. When you mentioned earlier AI and Chat GPT, because a guy asked me, a guy asked me, another woman, she teaches it. She's like, it's gonna transform everything. She says, how much do you use it in your business? I said, very little. And she said, I don't understand. I said, I'm not worried about AI and Chat GPT with what I do. And she said, well, why? I said, because AI is pulling from all kind of other sources.
Yes.
I said, you don't know on a given day what that story is going to cause me to say and how I feel.
Yes.
You could try to predict it.
Yes.
You don't know if I'm going to go hard, if I'm going to go soft. You don't know if I'm going to take righteous indignation here, if I choose to educate here. I said, and I can't tell you. I said, I can't tell you until that camera goes live.
Exactly right.
I said, so that's why I'm not worried. I said, you literally cannot script and try to figure out, oh, this happens, Roland's going to say this and say it this way. I said, no. And so that to me is why I believe we talk about that technology, why I'm not that worried about it from the creative side, because it's just like there's several AI songs I listen to. I like it, but I know when I'm listening to a human.
Exactly. Yes.
I know you can AI soul, but BB King, when BB King died, Lionel Richie, I interviewed him. BB King told me, he said, Lionel, you cannot write a blues song from the back of a limousine. And that's the other thing. I think AI serves a role, but it cannot make me feel.
Exactly.
I can listen, but I got to feel it.
Yes. To me, I know it sounds old school, but that's why I do it. And that's why when I choose to go to films and look at directors who have the ability to really, as you say, make you think and feel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, the action's okay, and the bombs and the fights and the...
Right.
Okay. But the point is, you know what I mean?
Right. It's like, my wife loves John Wick movies. And I go, how many folk gonna get killed in this movie? I said, the last movie, about 250 people got killed. And, like, I'm sitting there, it's like she loves all John. I'm sitting there going,
I know.
I'm like, another 55 people got killed.
No.
And I'm just sitting there like, again, by the time we got to the 100th death, I was like,
I know, yeah.
I was like, anything else? She was like, I'm in the mood there like, I said, baby, this is John Wick 4. We done seen 1, 2, 3. I said, the body count is approaching 1,000 people cumulative in these movies. So that, trust me, we had this back and forth. I'm like, I can't watch this. I'm like, nah, I got to feel something. Let me ask you a question. Is there something that, your story career, is there still something that you have not done that you really, really want to do?
There are stories that I want to tell. Red Fox is one of them. And there are other stories I want to tell. But there's always 3 fundamental things you need. Funding, distribution, and marketing. If you can afford to own all 3 of those, then you can have a voice in what you're doing.
Right.
But if someone else is always funding you,
right,
then in the final analysis, I mean, you may like this scene, but if they funded it, they can say, take that one out.
Right. Or, no, we're not going to shoot there. I mean, listen. One of the reasons, so when I was at TV One, I was host and managing editor, but I didn't control the budget. Quincy Jones, I called Q at the house. I talked to him. He agreed to a one-on-one interview.
That's great.
Never did it. Because they canceled the trip. And it never happened. And my whole deal was, I am never going to be in that position again. My whole deal is, now, so all of this, none of this is rented on all of it. My deal is, I am never going to sit here and have somebody tell me no. Q said yes. And they were like, oh, well, no, we got to postpone the trip. Well, you know, the cost of this. And I was hot. I was hot. And I said, that ain't going to happen again. So now my deal is, no, I fund it. I own the stuff. And I can distribute it.
That's great. That's great.
I am not asking somebody permission.
That's great. That's great. Where do you see, and I think I asked you this before, but where do you see us being in terms of this industry over the next 5 years?
I think what has to happen is, and I saw a couple of videos recently on this here, I think what creatives have to learn, they have to understand the difference between, I have followers, I have fans, and I have supporters. A follower and a fan is not always a supporter. So the key is, if I build up a core base of supporters and they riding with me, then they believe in what I'm doing. They will help fund what we're doing. And then my job is to deliver for them to go, man, that was fire. We're going to support again. And I think when I look at a lot of these folks in Hollywood, I look at a lot of people, we talk about, they don't want to take selfies. They don't want to do something. I'm like, they don't understand. You literally are ignoring a potential supporter.
Right.
So when your passion project, now all of a sudden, when the studio says no, and now all of a sudden you like really want to do it, now who are you going to turn to?
That's right.
You never cultivated, again, you never cultivated your followers and fans to become supporters.
Right.
So you didn't communicate with them, you didn't talk with them. Now all of a sudden, now you need them. Well, you've now I know some people in media who have worked 20 and 25 years and all of a sudden got laid off. Now they're literally starting from the bottom. And I'm like, you were at this place. You were at CNN, MSNBC. You were at ESPN. You were at places for 20 and 25 years. The problem was they were comfortable in the network's marketing, in the network's PR, in the network handling everything. So now the onus is on them. They had no concept of how to do that. And so I think the smartest thing, whether they are actors, whether they are producers, they are directors, is to first learn the business of the business, to understand what that costs, what that one thing can do. And again, I go back to High Flying Bird. He shot that with Osmo, the iPhone, and that 10 by 12 light. So now it's like, wait, but hold up. How can I not? Again, so it's now saying, come here, how can I do this project? But I got to understand, here, my financial limitations, how creative can I get? And then now, how can I now build this out? I think that's where we're going to be, because we see right now with Warner Discovery, used to be the Big Seven.
Right.
No longer the Big Seven.
That's right.
It's about to be the Big Four. Jobs going to be lost.
Yes.
All these things are happening, and people are going to realize, now when you talk about platforms, it's no longer the platform. You actually are the conduit to the multiple platforms. So now is, how do you now maximize your social media?
Yes.
That, to me, if that has to be talked about and broken down to say, now if I've got 700,000 here, 1.3 million here, 100,000 here, I got 1 million here. Like for me, collectively we have 5 million.
Right.
Now, how do I now take that and monetize it and bring them along with the vision I have to create the content that we think is going to be necessary? That's the only piece, because the industry is going, the gatekeepers are going to shrink, and they're going to keep shrinking. And it's going to be tougher for the real authentic stories to be told.
Yes. I unfortunately agree. But what you're saying is essential, because from a very, very early age, our children should be taught the things you're talking about. Because the world, as we know it, can sometimes be merciless, and they're not going to feel sorry for you because nobody told you that the name of the game has changed to baseball while you're still running around the bases with a football in your hand.
See, I thought you were going to go to High Flying Bird. They built a game on top of a game.
That's right.
I thought you were about to go there. Right. But that isn't. They built a game on top of a game.
That's exactly right. It's real, right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm hopeful that, I wish there were more people like you on the air, because you wake us up. Because, I hate to say it, but many times we have a habit of sleeping. And this is a time where we should really be awake, because there's some serious paradigm shifts. And as you said a little while ago, there are many jobs at stake that people assume would be there. They're not going to be there any longer. So the question is, how do you survive?
Yes. How do you survive and then thrive?
Totally right.
Because surviving is one thing, but thriving is another.
A whole other thing. You're totally right.
And that's the key.
Thriving is, but are we teaching that? Are we teaching that yet?
I think in some ways, the hope that I do have, and I do appreciate this, is that millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha are thinking about owning and controlling at a much earlier age. But the only thing that I tell them is, that's great that you want to do that, but you better learn the business of the business.
The business of the business.
Going back to the craft. So you may want to do that, but do you know how to do it? And can you shoot?
That's right.
And edit?
Yes.
And sit here? Can you direct? Can you do you understand? Right. That's what I try to tell them. So having the idea, having they come, they say, I'm going to do what you do. And I say, but do you want to do what I do?
That's right.
And I think that's the piece.
That's right.
And so that's my hope. So I think I do believe that also the cost has now come down so much. At the stores you're talking about, then how do you also partner? So in this state, massive job losses because of the film industry. We see what's happening in California.
That's
There's
right.
no guarantee about the tax credits and all the thing like that.
That's right.
So now what do you get? You got a whole bunch of script writers, cinematographers, directors, all these folks who are out of jobs. And what I'm saying is, how do all those folks get together and say, well, wait a minute. How can we create... All of us ain't got no jobs.
No, I hear you.
But how can we get together? You write the script, you direct it, and we create the products, partner with others to now get it out to be able to build it. At the end of the day, you're either going to be sitting on the side, unable to eat, or you're going to sit here and make it happen yourself.
Well, you're totally on target. And the opportunities that are in that is potential ownership of some of the content you create. If we teach people, as you so eloquently stated previously, the business. Now, everybody wants the show part, and all that stuff, but no one's teaching the business, I was in church a few years ago, and the pastor said, everybody wants to go to heaven, stand up and sing hallelujah. Everybody stood up, hallelujah. Everybody that wants to die, stand up and sing hallelujah. Nobody stood up. So he said, I have a question. How are you going to go to heaven if you don't die?
And how are you going to own something if you don't know the business?
You don't know the business.
It's as simple as that.
It's called show business. It should be called business show.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's a whole, and I say this, there's a whole bunch of creative black folks who are in front of the camera, but it's a whole bunch of folks who are white behind the camera who are sending their kids to private school, making millions off of their craft, and they getting paid, and the folk here not.
Yeah. I hope that your voice reaches as many youth as possible, because I have concerns. I have 4 grandkids. Are they being given the tools for survival?
There you go.
In the future. I mean, I know they have passion and everything, but passion has to be married to pragmatism.
Yep.
And you have to really understand, if you want to survive, what are you going to be facing?
Yep.
You know what I mean? But nobody, not say nobody, but a lot of folks don't want to do that work.
Yes.
They want they expect somehow it's going to be okay, you know, and
no. That's why when they ask me, I want to do what you do, and I say, but do you want to do what I do?
That's right.
And then the whole conversation shifts.
That's exactly right.
Bill, I appreciate it, man. You're looking good. It's always good to chop it up with you.
Can I tell you a joke before I leave?
Yes, sir.
A young black mother and her young son are on a plane. And all of a sudden, the plane starts shaking. So the pilot comes from the cockpit and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have bad news." He said, the plane, one engine blew. If we don't lose weight on the plane, the whole plane's going to crash and kill everybody. So, because it's a weight problem, we're asking people to volunteer to jump off to save lives. We're going to be fair. We're going to do an alphabetical order. Okay. So he says first, the A's. All the Asians get up and they jump off. The B's and the C's. And the young boy says, Mommy. Yes, son. He said B's and C's to get up and jump off. How come you didn't get up? She said, because we're black in color. She says, no, we Negroes today.
Today we Negroes.
That's right. Because ends.
Right. There's a whole bunch getting up for we got to get to the end.
That's right.
Appreciate it, Bill.
God bless you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, that does it for us tonight on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Roland will be back tomorrow night, broadcasting live from Alabama State University to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the Montgomery bus boycott. Please do not forget to support the work that we do by joining the Bring the Funk fan club. If you want to support our work and help us travel all over the country, you can give via Cash App or Stripe, that QR code. You see it right here at the bottom of the screen. PayPal, it's R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com. We do take checks and money orders. Make it payable to Roland Martin, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 200037-0196. Please be sure to download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, you can get it on Android, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, and Samsung Smart TV. If you want our Black Star Network swag, go to shopblackstar.network.com. You can get our hoodies, our t-shirts, our crew necks, all the good stuff. Also support the other black-owned businesses that we have at shopblackstarnetwork.com. You can find all of your Christmas gifts and support black-owned companies. Don't forget, download the app on Fanbase. Make sure you support them as well. You have until December 18th to become an investor. So download the app for more information on investing. Go to smart.engine.com/Fanbase. I'm Brittany Noble, and thank you for watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.